Yes. Let's start it today. Till now, we are learning the concept of collection framework. In collection framework, what we have to learn is how to use the collection framework classes and interfaces. We have to learn. So first we are seeing the list interface. Under list interface, whatever classes are there, we are learning. Till now, we have seen array list and linked list. Now we can see some other classes of the list interface. I created a package, new package, com.vkr list sub. Whatever classes related to array list is there in this package. Whatever classes related to linked list package. I created a different package for today's programs. Now, let's go to the first program. Till now, we have seen interface classes, array list, we have abstract list. This is a abstract class. This is subclass to abstract class collection, and it is a subclass to the list interface. We go to the hierarchy. Object class is a highermost class. In collection framework, subclass to object class is iterable. For iterable, the sub interface is collection interface. For a collection interface, now we are seeing the list. So sub interface is list interface. For inside the list interface, subclass to list interface are array list, linked list, and abstract list also. Here abstract list will come. Not only the list interface, it is extending the abstract collection also. This is also one class. This is also an abstract class. All the methods of a abstract collection class is unimplemented. All are unimplemented. So we are calling it as a abstract. If it is an abstract class, not only the all methods are unimplemented, there is different scenarios. Going to the abstract. In abstract class, we can have all the methods are abstract. Abstract class can have these are the scenarios. Abstract class can have all methods are abstract. Abstract class can have all methods are implemented. Abstract class can have some methods are abstract and other are concrete. Now we can create abstract class by creating all the methods are abstract. We can create abstract class by creating all methods are implemented also. We can create abstract class. Two methods are abstract, two methods are concrete. Similar to that, some methods are abstract, some methods are concrete. So we can call the class is abstract, even though it's having all implemented methods also. When we call this class is abstract means, if you declare in the class definition as abstract, we can call that class as abstract class. Now this is abstract collection also, abstract class which already developed by the JDK developers. This is the super class to abstract list. So whatever unimplemented methods are there inside abstract collection class, we'll get here. Inside list interface, we have so many unimplemented methods. Those unimplemented methods is common to the all subclasses to list interface. Now this is about abstract class. Now what about this abstract list? What is the use of abstract list? We have linked list, we have array list. We used how to add the elements, how to update the elements, how to remove the elements, how to read the elements. We have seen that. But we have abstract list class also. What is the purpose of abstract list class? See, if you want to create a list class, which once we create a list class, we should not able to edit the list class. Unmodifiable list. If you want to create unmodifiable list, we need abstract list. Unmodifiable means I created an array list. I am just adding the elements to the array list. You want to change the element of the array list in between. If you want to change, we can change it by calling the set method. So that is called modifiable array list. But here, if you want to create unmodifiable list, how to create it? Now, by default, if you want to create any list, we have to create your own array list class, and we have to implement the logic of adding the elements or removing the elements and updating the elements and deleting the elements. So that much code we have to write. But if you use the already predefined classes, we can use the classes, we can implement our things. But how to create unmodifiable list? See, I have a class. I just created a class, AbstractList. Let's see the example. I have array list, creating object to the array list. Inside array list, I am just adding the elements. Now, after adding the elements, I am just printing the elements, abstract list equal to the list. So creating reference to the abstract list is also similar to our previous things. But the object is created for the array list. It is not abstract list. So once we add the elements, we can remove the elements. I just remove the element of third index. 0, 1, 2, 3. Third index is 10, we are removing. And final list is this one. Now, we have a method of last index of. If you want to find last index of the string type A, if string is not there, this is a string which we are adding into the elements of list. If this string is not there inside the list, so it will give the index of -1. If the string is there, it will give what index it is. Now let's see this example. This is just normal program. First, after adding the elements, we got the output there. This ABC for XYZ 10 and 20. After removing the element, we got this one. And we are trying to find the index of the string. Of which index? On the index also, we can find the last index. Now this index is not there, so we'll get the output of -1. It will return -1. Now here, now I will add list dot add of ABC. Now if you want to find the last index of ABC, first index of ABC is this one. Last index of ABC is this one. So we will get output of last index. Last index of ABC is 4. This is the last index of ABC. If you want to find the index of ABC, we will get the first index. This one we will get 0. If the element is not there, we will get the -1. That is about the last index of method. If you call index of method, it will tell you which index it is there in the array list. Now coming to the abstract list. So if you want to create object to the abstract list also, we can create, but the object should be created for the array list because we cannot create object to the abstract list class directly. If you want to create object to the abstract list class, we have to create a subclass to the abstract list, and we have to override all unimplemented methods and implement them. Now, what is the main use of abstract list class? We can create unmodifiable list by using AbstractList abstract class. That is how it is. You have to create your own class, list class, extents of abstract list, and just override the get method and size method. See, unmodifiable list means once we add the elements, only we have to get the elements. We should not allow them to set the elements. So that list you can call as an unmodifiable list. Now let's go to the next example of the array list, abstract list. See, to implement an unmodifiable list, we should use abstract list. Once we use the abstract list, we have two unimplemented methods of a abstract list abstract class. We have to implement that methods inside your class, subclass to that. I'm just implementing that. Here we have to implement your own logic to get the elements. We cannot change the elements of a list if you use this program list class. This is just a definition we have to understand, but no need to think about much here. If you want, you can, whenever you have a requirement, if you want to create any unmodifiable list, you have to create a class and extend subtract class, and we have to do that. To achieve this, the collection API framework is providing the methods also that we can see in the next examples. How to create unmodifiable list that we can see in the next example. But what is abstract list class? If somebody asks what is abstract list class, we should be able to tell. If you want to create unmodifiable list, you can create using the abstract list abstract class. By using abstract list abstract class, we can create unmodifiable list. That is the main use of the abstract list class. This is also from under the list interface. Now let's go to the next program. Now for arrays, we have seen arrays is storing the elements in one order, like 0 index, first index, second index, like that. But in case of linked list, in case of linked list, the storing the elements is not in one order. We just have something like sequential. First element is added as a node. The first element is having data and is having reference. That reference is linking to the second element. Second element also having the data and it is having the reference. That reference is linking to the third element. It is in one sequence with some references. References we can call as a pointer also. So if you want to create unmodifiable list for the linked list class, we have to use AbstractSequentialList. Both are very similar. AbstractList interface is used for creating unmodifiable list for the array list. AbstractSequentialList is used for creating unmodifiable list for the linked list class. That is the only difference. Now let's go and run this. Here also we're just adding the elements, but creating object to the linked list. We get the elements. This is very similar example. But only difference is we can create unmodifiable list using the abstract list class and abstract sequential list. This is because of our requirement. Now let's go to the next program. Now this is the next topic, like immutable list. If you want to create any immutable list class, how to create? Now here one more time we can recap what is immutable. We have seen this immutable, and we saw the examples also in earlier class. Immutable means once we create the object, once we set the data to the object, we cannot modify the data. We just have to read the data. Once we create object, once we set the data, first time, we cannot modify the data. Only we have to read the data. That is called immutable. Immutable means we can't change the data of the object. String class is immutable. All wrapper classes are immutable. Once we create the object, we cannot change the object. Now, how to create immutable list class? To create immutable, if you want to create immutable list class, we have to use immutable list class from the Google API. Supermost class is object class. Subclass to object class is abstract collection. From abstract collection, immutable collection object is created. Immutable collection class is created by the Google developers. From there, immutable list is a one more class, which is developed by the Google API only. com.google.common.collect. This is from the third party project. If you want to use the third party project, this is one project. Some project they have developed. Project means they developed classes, we can use their classes into our project. How to use external jar files? Everything, all projects are stored into one jar file. How to use external things here? Now, by default, if you want to use this immutable list, we can't use. But how to use that? First, we have to download the library from the mavenrepository.com. I want to get this. Go to mavenrepository.com and search for your class. We can't search there. But if you want to download any dependencies, you have to go to the Google. For every class, we have dependencies. Download dependencies for this class. Will tell. Download dependency for the jar, this one. You go here also. If you go searching in Google, we'll get Maven repository. Go to the Maven repository and download it. See, in Maven repository, we have option to download the jar. This is Google Collect jar. You can download it. I just already downloaded this. Go to the Maven repository.com only by searching in a Google. What is the dependency for that jar? Go to the and download this. After downloading it, how to use it in our project? To use that, if you are not using that, go to the right click, go to the properties. This is a third party external jar. If you want to use it, I will delete this. If you delete that, we will get the compile time errors. Because this jar, this class name, we don't know from where it came. If you want to use any third party external classes, we have to download the jar from the Google, and that jar files we have to use in our project. How to use that? We have to set the properties. Right click, go to the properties, Java build path. Here we have libraries. Add external jars. Here I have my Google jar, Google Collections 1.0 jar. Open that jar. Okay. Once we open that jar, so we are telling to the my project collections playground. I have that jar file in my system. Use that jar file to use the immutable list class. So the compiler will take care of compiling that and giving us. Inside the immutable list class, we have some methods. That is a class, right? Inside the class, we have copy of method. By using copy of method, we can copy the immutable list. It will create the immutable list. Once the list object is created, we cannot modify the list object. So that is called immutable list. Now, what is immutable list? And what are the things we have to follow in immutable list? See, once we create a list, we cannot change the list attributes. Once we create the list, we cannot change the list values. So that is called immutable list. See, once we create a list, immutable list, if you try to add the elements to the immutable list, we'll get runtime error. That error we can tell as a unsupported operation error. We try to add the elements to the immutable list, we'll get this error, unsupported operations exception. And for immutable list, we cannot add the null elements. See, if you want to add array list dot add of null, that is not possible in case of immutable list. Once we create immutable list, we cannot add the nulls. If we try to add the null, we'll get the null pointer exception. That is another exception. And we have some advantages using the immutable list. If you use immutable list, the first advantage is this is thread safe. Thread safe means multiple threads cannot access the immutable list methods. Only one thread can able to access first time. Once the thread is using that list object, it will release the lock. Then next thread will take care of using that object. That is called thread safe. And if you use the immutable list, it means like we are not doing any modify operations, so we are not using much memory. If you use immutable list, the memory space is very less. Only we are creating an object, using that object. We are not modifying and using the memory mode. The memory usage is efficient if you use immutable list. That are the advantages of immutable list. Now, how to create the immutable list? Now, inside program 3, I have main method. Inside main method, I have a list object, array list. I'm just added the element, one element, list dot add of hello. Now here what I am doing is I am creating unmodifiable list. See, if you want to create unmodifiable list, we can use AbstractList class, abstract class, or AbstractSequentialList abstract class. That we have seen in the previous programs. But we have another way also creating unmodifiable list. You can use unmodified list method of collections. We have a class collections class. By using this class, can create unmodifiable list by calling unmodifiable list to static method of collections class. Since it is a static, we can use by using the class name. So whatever list we have created already, if we pass that list, so we'll get the unmodifiable list. This is unmodifiable list. I list is an unmodifiable list. I list is a variable, so I'm printing the variable here. Unmodifiable list means once we create the elements, we cannot change the values. That is called unmodifiable. But we can add the new attributes. Here we have to remember what is the difference between unmodifiable list and immutable list. Unmodifiable list. Once we create the list, we cannot modify the elements of the list. Once we add the element, list.add of hello, we cannot change the value, but we can add the new values. Here we are adding the new values. So even though it is unmodifiable list, we can get the hello for everyone in the list, I list. But what is immutable list? If we create the object to the immutable list, once we create the object, we cannot change the values. This we created the list of size 1. So that is if it is immutable, we cannot add the much values to it. Only we can add whatever value is it, we can use that value. We cannot add the second value, third value to the immutable list. How to create immutable list? I created one method inside the iList method. The return type is immutable list. So I'm passing the list list to the method. Here in Google class, immutable list class, com.google.common collect.immutable list class, we have copy of method. By using copy of method, we can create immutable class. How to create immutable list? By using Google immutable list class copy of method, we can create immutable list. This is the first way. So I'm returning that immutable list. We got the immutable list. Once we got the immutable list, if we try to add the elements to the basic list class, whatever list class we use to create immutable list, so that class, if we try to add, the changes won't go to the immutable list because immutable list is once created, that's it. We cannot add the more values to the immutable list. So here we will get output of hello for everyone. Here we will get output of only hello. And what is the second way of creating immutable list? Similarly, in immutable list class, we have off method. By using off method, we can create immutable list. This is the second way. For the off method, we are passing all the list attributes ABC 1, 2, 3, XYZ. These all are will go to the list. So if we try to print that immutable list 1, we'll get ABC 1, 2, 3, XYZ. Now we have seen how many ways we can create the list, immutable list. You see here, once we create the object, we cannot change the value. So we get the hello. Once we create the list, we cannot change the values. That we can see in the next. List array list equal to new array list. I'm just adding the elements to the array list. Array list add of 1, 2, 3. Whatever we are adding from there, array list dot. Array list add of XYZ. Now while creating a immutable list, I'm just creating by using the array list. Now I created an immutable list. Now you try to add array list dot add of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it won't be changed. So let's go and run this. List of lists, list, okay. See, our method is doing little bit differently. So auth method, immutable list of auth method, whatever objects we are passing to the auth method, those all objects it will collect and it will create a one list. That is called immutable list. If you create an array list outside, if you want to pass that array list as a auth method of a list, so it will consider as a list of list object. That is not needed here. We need a list of string objects. So to create list of string objects, for auth method we have to pass the all the strings. Now if you want to, this is dynamic. Any number of arguments we can use for the auth method. Here if you want to use 1, 2, 3, 4, you can use it. So if we call this, we'll get the output of this one. Now here, the main thing is how many ways we can create the immutable list. We can create immutable list by calling the copy of method of Google class, this class, and by using auth method of Google class. Auth method will take dynamic arguments. You can add any number of arguments. Here I added 4 arguments. If you want to add 100 arguments, you can add 100 arguments. But the argument type we have to pass here. We cannot pass the directly list object. To pass the list object directly, it will give list of lists list. So here, by using copy of method, we can pass the list. By using that list, they are creating immutable list and sending the list back to us. These are the 2 ways we can create the immutable list, by using copy of, by using the auth method. Now what is unmodifiable list? How many ways we can create? If you want to create unmodifiable list, you can create your own array list class, extents of AbstractList. From there, we can just override the get method and size method. By using the 2 methods, we can tell that only we can get the elements. We cannot change the elements. There is no set method over there. So by using the unmodifiable list of collections class, we can create similar class of unmodifiable list. Here iList is an unmodifiable list. Now what is the difference between unmodifiable list and the immutable list? Once we create a list, unmodifiable list, by using the list, whatever values we are adding to the list after creating the unmodifiable list, those values will go and add to the iList also, because whenever we print iList, we got the all values. But once we create immutable list, here I created immutable list by using the same list. We added any new attributes to the list is not added to the immutable list, because we got the hello only here. We print the immutable list, we got hello. We print the iList, we got the all values of a list. So that is the difference between immutable list and the unmodifiable list. These all are from the list interface only. Now let's go to the next example. From the list interface stream, we have vector class. In this program 4, I have main method. I'm just creating array list. Array list will take all the string types, adding the elements to the array list. Array list dot add of, I added some strings. We are just iterating the array list and printing the elements. How to iterate the array list? In ArrayList class, we have iterator method. By calling iterator method, we'll get the iterator interface. Inside iterator, it's not an interface. It's inside iterator class. We have only two methods. One is hash next method and the next method. Hash next method will tell whether the element is available in the next element of the array list or not. If it is going to the last element of our list, it will give the false. If it is in the first element of our list, if second element is there, it will give the true. So hash next method will use to identify the element is there available or not in the next element. If the next element is having the value, so it will give the true. If the next element is not having the value, it will give the false. It means like it is iterating the entire array up to from 0 to n elements. It will read the all elements by checking the hash next. How to get the element? We have it.next method to get the element. In array list, we added all these three values. And we are just getting the elements by calling the next method of iterator. So this is a way of iterating the array list elements. This is another way. By using for loop also, we can iterate the elements. By using iterator also, we can iterate the elements. Now, how to create the vector object? Here, I just created a vector object of string types. Inside vector object, how to add the elements? We have add element method to add the elements of vector object. So I added the elements by calling the add elements methods. And how to iterate the elements of the vector? You can iterate the elements of the vector by using the enumerator. If for vector class object, vector.elements, this will give enumerator class. By using enumerator class, similar to the iterator, enumerator is having the has more elements method. This will tell enumerator is having the next element or not. If the next element is there, if it is giving true, so it will go and get the next element. If it is not giving a true, the enumerator will go to the last element. So next elements will give the false. As more elements will give the false. Then it won't go and print the element. It will break the loop there. Similar to the for loop, 0 to n elements. By using hash more elements, you can check the condition is true or not. If the condition is true, it will print the element. If it is going to the last element, so the condition will become false here. This method will give the false. So it won't come here, it will come outside. This is a way of iterating the elements of vector. Now here we have seen how to create the array list object, how to create the vector object, how to iterate the elements of the vector and array list. And let's go down this. We're just printing the all elements. Now here, what is the difference between array list and vector? The main difference is array list is non-synchronized. Whatever methods are there inside array list, all are non-synchronized. Non-synchronized means any number of threads can access the array list methods simultaneously. But in case of vector, vector is synchronized. So if you want to access the elements of the vector, we need object lock of vector. It is thread safe. Array list is not thread safe. Vector is a thread safe. That is the first difference. Coming to the next one, performance. Array list will give the better performance because it is non-synchronized.